And obviously going to be starting off the CT side. They're going to have the chance to do so yet again. Those mid-round calls Dust was talking about, sorry, starting T side, those mid-round calls they were talking about, I think it's going to be important for BlameF to be able to read into things properly when they do swap over. But those odds, weren't they 9 to 1.01 at some point?
Yeah, no, they've definitely dropped quite significantly. I suppose that happens when your opponent manages to steal a map away that may not have been expected. And going into Dust2, I can definitely see this more being on a level playing field. I guess nobody had also seen any maps from Complexity on this map, so on the previous map of Nuke. Here we go, though. Aggression coming out, doubling up. Oh, nice shot from Tarek. A peekaboo from BlameF, and his head is gone within the first few seconds. I don't know if they knew that Obo was actually there, but it doesn't matter. He's now going to be making his way forward, and Ethan looking tempted to take another peek back. Doesn't manage to connect the first shot, but Tarek comes in for support and already doubles up the pistol.
Flashbang's coming through to actually halt the progression from the T side to hit towards the A site. They do have a smoke down to help cover this off. The problem is they're still going to have quite a few players tucked away. Oh my gosh, Tarek. What are these shots he's hitting?
Oh, he got the ace. He just killed absolutely everyone, Jason. What a crisp round coming out from Tarek. I said earlier that you always have those rounds that he just manages to win for you. I didn't expect him to kill absolutely everybody in the first round of the map.
I don't think he's satisfied with losing that last one.
I don't think anybody on the team would be satisfied with that, unless they like the punishment.
Hey. We're not judging here. We're not kink shaming, okay?
Speak for yourself.
Oh, so you're judging it?
I am a judgmental person.
Well, we're going to see now. Evil Jesus with a strong start. Cirque getting tagged up. Nice Shazam. And I mean, obviously with Tarek getting a start like that, he's got to be feeling good. He's got an M4 in hand. And we see it already, you know what, Breezy was the one to really get things going for Evil Geniuses on Nuke. And now that Tarek's been able to do so, I wonder if there's going to be another man to step up. Stanislaw was actually really quiet on the last map, and that's something that we have to point out considering he's generally one of the ones towards, let's say, the top echelons of the scoreboard. But something about Nuke just he could not figure out or could not seem to play well. Or in the other case, Complexity was able to work around him extremely well.
Well, an investment in this round from Complexity. A lot of the time you see a save in these sort of rounds, but this is one of those maps, especially using cat control, it can be quite easy to get yourself a bomb plant. They're only going to have to really deal with Cirque Scout, which is not the ideal weapon here. There will be a rotation back from Tarek as well to try and stop them from below. However, he's already taking a lot of damage. Tarek is still trying to peek. He's got to be careful. He's got one of the only rifles that they have. And if it goes into enemy hands, who knows what could happen instead, though. Continues his streak of kills. Yet anyone of his team to actually get a kill yet. It is literally just Tarek trying to win this map on his own. He's forced them all the way back. Rush with decent timing eventually gets the deeks. He gets two at once. Doubles up. Trying to hold them back from behind. The bomb not yet being defused either. It's starting to tick fairly fast as they're going to have to try and do something about this. Somebody needs to get on it relatively soon. Tarek still cleaning things up, though, as it's left all on to death. Defusal beginning. I don't think there's much he can do about this now, unfortunately, as the bomb will be defused in the nick of time, but damn, was that close.
Way too close. And now Complexity with the bomb plant. I have to wonder, should they invest into the pistols into this round and go for it, or are they going to save up into the next round? And yeah, it was kind of funny. Yeah, it looks like they did. It was funny, though, that Tarek was the only one with an actual kill, or only one with kills on the team, even though they won the first round. That was a hell of a couple of shots at a rush. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to pay off in a round victory. There we go, 2 MAC-10s, the SG, a Scout, and a Galil for the Complexity side. I feel like the CT side just felt much stronger out of Complexity when they were playing against Cloud9 on this map.
I think they got 9 rounds. And then, to be fair, they did all right on the other side as well. But the problem was that we saw a comeback beginning from Cloud9. And again, like Rush talks about Mirage being a momentum-based map, I would say this is the king of momentum-based maps.
Wasn't it like was it 7-round or 6-round streak for both teams?
Yeah, something like that. I think that happened multiple times, in fact. And then it was sort of, the trend was broken by that final round win that came out from Complexity. Already, though, They've gone for this extra force buy. I don't really blame them in this scenario, considering how close the previous round was and the extra bomb plant they managed to get. The problem is they've already lost that first man, and they haven't gained a lot of ground. They haven't... Well, they've got Cat. They're still holding on to tunnels. But coming out into long, they've got to deal with Ethan. In this position, okay, maybe you get the trade, but he should at least be able to get one kill, and that's if they even check for it, especially this late into the round. Him still holding here, and there's that first kill, and Shazam only has a scout. This is like the worst weapon you could have in this scenario, and Ethan doubles up. 2 to his name. They've only got 20 seconds. I don't even think there's anything they can do here. The bomb's going to be retreat. Def would literally have to run the whole way, and even then, he would only just be able to get the plant. Luckily, Blame F has got the kill, but yeah, there's nothing they can do. Bomb dropped. Blame F's just going to try and hold on to this rifle into the next round. Instead, Cirque is even going to put him down. And that's the moment now where you kind of have to see a bit of an eco taken by the opposing side, the T's. Although, they could get a pistol or two, or maybe a solo rifle. I wouldn't mind seeing that. Let somebody try and be the hero.
Well, who would you give it to then? I mean, Obo's been the one able to crack open sights, if we think back to Mirage, but Blame F's been, I'd say, pretty damn consistent.
I would probably give it to Obo. I think that, like, just on raw individual aim, he probably is the talent. I think Blame F's very good, but a lot of the time he's just holding for rotations and catching off people on the lurk, whereas if you want someone to just straight up entry frag, I would rather have Obo.
Well, Ethan's going to spot out the bomb as they're looking to rush him down. The back is going to be there. The full Stanislav, he's been blinded up. And Obo, well, speaking of the man, able to get a double. Able to open up the B site. Not able to pick up the bomb to go for the plant just yet, however, as Breezy's going to be flanking from T spawn and Tarek trying to prevent the actual plant from happening. Able to pick up the M4, but the other weapon is going to be the SMG, and it's not the most ideal thing to have, but it will obviously be better than nothing. And Blame F, you talked about going for the flanks and the lurks. It's been spotted out, and now Breezy's been able to make his way through, and they're going to be able to punish this one, knowing Blame F's the last man alive. And it's just, they should have known where he was. He turns it into a one-on-one. There actually is a possibility, considering the amount of time left, that Blame F can still take this round.
Yeah, it's the two players that I think you'd want in these sort of clutch scenarios. Tarek is 10-0 at the moment. He's already managed an ace, and he's normally the calm within the storm of this EG side. I think he even spotted him out. Easy for him, 11-0. What a fantastic start. That said 258 ADR. That is unreal from Tarek early on in this match, and well, he's going to stop that force buy from taking the victory. The only real worry is there hasn't been a round. Well, actually, okay, there was the one with the SMG off the back of Ethan, but other than that, all the rounds have been pretty close, and this was way too close for comfort. The fact that they had two players within this site and Obo's able to get both kills. Also, again, you spoke about, I think, Shazam's flashbangs. Well, that was so fast.
You could even say faster than the speed of light. Well, Def now looking to push out. Actually, they've been able to take away a large portion of the map, though. Ethan and Stanislav still going to be here to defend. The smoke and the Molotov being used to help delay the push from coming through, and now it's going to be go time. You can see Def trying to catch up Stanislav. He's going to be spotted out, though, and Rush is going to have the angle locked down. Def's going to push it. Ethan trying to hold on by himself, but unfortunately going to be overwhelmed. And they'll have the site Breezy. Just keep this in mind, by the way. This is the second time he's been able to flank in from T-spawn. And I would imagine he's going to continue to play aggressive like this if these rounds continue.
Yeah, Molotov. Okay, Obo. He peeks behind it. I like it. Uses it to net him a frag and now turns it into a 1 versus 2. Finally, Complexity grace the scoreboard as they get their first onto the board. But the more important thing is the amount of damage they managed to do over the last few rounds is going to leave EG in a bit of a questionable situation. I wonder if this might be a moment to take a pause and decide whether or not you actually go for an investment here. The money really didn't look good on the other side. And by the looks of it, they are going to go for it here. Maybe a bit of money saved onto Tarek just so that get himself the AWP later on. Ethan is going to be able to kill off Shazam. The AWP dropped. I imagine they'll either pick that up onto a different player or just chuck it straight out of the map.
Looking considering they're forced up into this round. That's going to be a very nice starter. Nice little appetizer for ideally their meal. Next entree would obviously be getting some of these weapons out of the hands of the complexity side. Ethan's going to have the opportunity to do so. He's going to spot off the first onto Rush. Doesn't get the tag, unfortunately. Stanislaw will get some decent damage done, but Def will be able to deny this course. I must be hungry because I'm just talking about food the whole time.
Oh, he is coming up a little bit later on. I do feel like you've wasted a lot of your food puns a little bit early, considering that's the case. Literally a player called Food.
Don't worry. We have a break after. Well, we'll see how long the break will be. I have some time.
Well, it's very dependent on how this map goes. It started very strong for EG, but this investment into this round has left them without much for the next either. They've still got a scout onto Cirque, and well, for complexity, considering the weaponry on the other side, there's not really that much of a reason to hunt this down. Even still, a second for complexity. They are starting to build a little bit of extra cash. They did save the AWP, so that can go back into the hands of Shazam. Once again, he's not had the best of starts to this match, and I do feel like he almost seems like a more supportive player, which is a bit of a weird thing to have as your AWPer, I will be honest, but it seems to work. Like, he's very happy to throw those flashbangs in for his teammates to get the entry kills, and as said, throughout the series so far, I think there's no doubt that he has the highest flash assist ratio, and in the match yesterday as well. Like, it seems like he's very good at getting these picks, and oh my god! Cirque with 2 kills through the door. You can't give this man anything. And while the round should still be going back the other way, the rest of the players with so little to actually fight back, with no utility, no kit, and already the B-site under their control. Nade dropping Ethan down to just 13 HP. Breezy has managed to get himself an SG. Now, considering he has Kevlar, maybe there's a little bit of hope, and the rest of the players can somewhat act as cannon fodder. Like, they go running in. He just tries to trade out some of these kills, maybe hold the remaining complexity players into the site. Here we go. This is the small utility they have. Going to flash themselves in. They managed to retrieve an AWP already. 4 kills coming back, and wow, that is an absolute slaughter. Not a single man surviving for EG, considering the 5 versus 3, and well, kind of what I expected. Like, once the bomb goes down on that B site, I didn't really think there was a way they won that round.
I'm not sure there was even a single point of damage done for them. That was a hell of a couple shots out of Cirque, as you just saw. But EG gonna go for the timeout. Off the back of Tarek getting an ace in the pistol round and not dying until, I believe that was what, round 4 or 5? I think it was 5, the first round they lost. He's up to 12 kills and still 168 ADR. And Stanislaw not even able to get on the board so far.
It is funny that he has more ADR than Breezy, though. It's one of those things where you're doing the damage and then Breezy just comes in and sweeps up the kills. Thank you very much. Take those all day long. We are just going to have a slight moment. Seems like a pause has been called. But already complexity starting to build into this one. I think the amount of money that they've managed to make in these last few rounds is going to play a big part, because it's almost definite that at some point EG are going to bounce back. The other thing as well is I will be interested to see how good their CT side is going to be once again, because in the last map it wasn't great. It started very strong, but they started to let things slip, and then complexity showed again that they do have a very strong T side. But for EG, we know there's going to be a decent T side coming. Last map, okay, I think that was a little bit of an outlier, but when it came to Mirage, they were unstoppable. Just running into sites, taking individual duels, and pretty much winning all of them. It was said in the interview that they decided to play that looser style, like using their spawns, and that's something that Dust2 really plays into. So I'm looking forward to seeing that. Of course, a long way to go. Who knows? We could see a dominant half out of complexity, and then It really will come down to that T side, or the polar opposite, as we do now have a buy coming in. Cirque, with his AWP, we've seen what he can do with the Scout. An early long presence actually going to be coming in for both teams, but the Molotov, an extra utility, well, it should hold them back. The T's are actually going to go through. Breezy caught off.
Well, they expect Ethan to be. They're going to know now as he peeks around the corner and takes Rush. Shazam's able to hit the shot, though, at least Tarek alone with Cirque. But the problem is no one's watching towards short. Or Tarek might have taken his eyes off it. Down to a 2-on-3. And Blame F, well, he's just lurking behind. Did he actually spot him out? Did he see Tarek? He's backing away as if he did, so. The thing is, we've not seen the bomb actually progress any further. With a minute left to go, there's so much time for Evil Geniuses to work with. And AG are kind of spread apart, looking for that information, looking for some individual duels. And Playmouth actually, I was wondering if he's going to go back through tunnels. He could have snuck up behind Tarek, but instead he's just going to push out middle, not be spotted. And they're going to have no idea he's there once the bomb gets planted. But I don't even know necessarily if EG's going to challenge if the bomb goes down. Unless Stanislav gets an early kill, I'd imagine they're just going to save these weapons.
They only really have to worry about Stan. That's the one thing that Blame F has done very well in this round, is he's made sure that they really don't have to worry about the cross at all. That's why he was so deep. He sort of allowed his teammates to cross with only one smoke, and they're going to get the bomb down with seconds to spare. Him still being in CT was a big surprise for Tarek, and now Stan, well, not going to be getting his first kill onto the board. That was a very well thought out round from Complexity. And again, it's this man on your screen. He may not necessarily be getting all of the frags in this sort of scenario, but his information plays are so integral to the calls that he makes. It's a tough role to be playing, and you talk about teams that have had lurker in-game leaders in the past, and a lot of those players get a lot of flack. Like, you look at someone like Happy, who, when things were going well, they were amazing, but things were going bad, he never really seemed to have an answer to switch things up. In these sort of scenarios, it seems like Blame F is making the plays to feed information. If he gets a kill, that's great, but it's not necessarily the solo impact. His impact in that round, for example, was making sure they could cross if they did only have one smoke available to them. He goes, okay, there's no one in CT, I'll drop a smoke down just in case, and then they're able to cross onto the site knowing that the only thing they had to worry about was the site itself and short, which makes things a lot easier if you're the T's moving forward. So, yeah, massive impact from him once again, and oh, we see Complexity now with even scoreline and their opponents not having too much money. The thing is, another thing that seems like a definite is Tarek getting clutches and EG winning a round with pistols.
Well, they're in the position to do just that. Able to get some decent damage done. The problem is they've lost out on two different players, and the third is Stanislav's going to fall. Just going to get tucked away in sight, get the bomb down. And it looks like not even a single frag going to come in from the side of Evil Genius. Finally, Breeze is able to get one, but one and done is all he can do. And back to your point about Blame F and the way he's been playing, I think that also shows a lot of confidence he has in his team. That he doesn't necessarily need to be there for him to help. He doesn't need to get the kills to help open up sites, that he could just sit there and play for the information and give the information to his team and have them know how to use it and be able to still take these rounds nonetheless. They kind of have that confidence when you've only been in the team, well, only had 9 days of practice. I think it says something about the Complexity roster.
Well, I guess so far, not much has gone wrong for them, so it's kind of easy to sit there and be in that honeymoon phase, as things have definitely improved massively. I'll be interested to see how things do go over time. They definitely do seem to have everything ready to be a team that challenges at least into the top 10. I think that there's definitely openings at the moment. Like, there's so many teams looking to battle in that area. But this team is definitely excited us so far. Of course, a long way to go in this map. Double orb setup purchased up for Evil Geniuses, so looking to try and, well, pretty much just pug play it a little bit, fight back. And they've set it up on the B site, so it's going to be Ethan this time. We saw Tarek AWPing previously on Mirage, but I think it definitely seems that the secondary AWP comes in as more of a situational weapon rather than any specific player having the role. Cirque is going to be spotted out over the top. It's whether or not they know that there is going to be a man in Goose. But these nades are all just a ruse, Jason. They're going into B.
And Ethan's going to be waiting. Molotov comes in, does smoke it off to survive. He's going to hit one shot, but Shazam will at least be able to equalize here. But can he equalize against Stanislav, who's now using another smoke down to maybe buy some time? Shazam reaching back out of the scope, going to miss the first shot, but so does Stanislav, to be fair. And somehow this has turned into a very scrappy fight. Sorry, he's eventually able to get the kill, but the rest of the team's going to be there. And Complexity going to continue on the grind, 6-4, 6 rounds straight. Showing no signs of stopping.
I wish I had like the ability to add like music to different plays. Like, cause it'd be so much fun just having like the da 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 as they're like running around in the smoke.
Yeah, that would be good.
Or almost like a.
Can we get one of those buttons?
Oh
my god.
And there are reasons why I'm not allowed to have those buttons.
Oh.
He's had nearly all his kills with the scout. It's ridiculous. It is going to be another round where there's pieces missing, but Cirque with the scout is just so deadly. He's going to give his teammates a chance to flashbang as flawless from Tarek. Gives them a man advantage. And Breezy, how many times have we seen him in this situation? Oh, they're touching tips. And there we go. He realizes it's going to be left on to Rush. And I said it, there's one of these rounds. There's just the 4-spy rounds or the small investment rounds that EG are just able to do things with that they shouldn't be able to. They've even retrieved some big boy weaponry now. Breezy with the AWP, SG for Stan, and Tarek even on an AK-47 and Rush. He's got a minute to try and break back into the B site where the bomb currently sits.
Let me ask you, Tom. Now that Breezy's gotten the kill, what's the flight time from England to California?
I don't know, like 12 hours?
So how did Woxic get here so quickly? This is ridiculous. Like, Cirque is just hitting almost every single scout shot. He got the double through door. I think he's up to 4 at least. Yeah, he's up to 4 at least. I'm not sure if he's actually higher than that. And he has 4 kills at the moment before this 2 came through. So 2/3 of his kills from the scout. See, I can do fractions.
What up? Well, luckily for the T side, they do have enough money to try and break back in this situation, but this has severely bolstered their opponent's finances. As a double AWP setup will join us once again, but they even have some backup cash on the players that were able to survive. Cirque looking like he's about to be challenged, and he's definitely warmed up over the last few rounds. Stan, however, maybe not so much. He's been overwhelmed once again. This B-side defense is something that Complexity are looking to exploit. They mentioned that they had been trying to counter their opponents. Oh, Tarek's so close. So close to getting another opening back into the site, and they desperately need it in these sort of scenarios. Of course, Breezy's going on a long flank all the way back around, but it's Cirque to actually get the initial pick back in. Only a singular flashbang and no more utility for Complexity, but at the same time, Breezy's the only one with the nades, and considering his position, that is not going to be ideal. The flashbang's good. Shazam missing an important shot. He misses a few, but luckily his teammates have hit absolutely everything. The other 3 players trying to push back in have failed. And Breezy, well, once again, is just going to be out of the round, not really able to have any level of impact just because he's so far away from the action.
I'd imagine that could have been winnable for Evil Geniuses if the person with the Molotov wasn't Breezy.
Yeah, for sure. I think, well, that's a perfect world, Jason. if you could teleport grenades to somebody else. But I get what you mean. Like, the back of site would have been a perfect place to Molotov out. But even without, like, the fact that the hold was so strong, even with Shazam missing those few shots, the rest of the team didn't miss anything. And Shazam, well, he hits the harder one, of course. Going to be tagging down Ethan to just 31 HP. He does have an AWP, so it's not the end of the world. And once again, we're going to see Complexity gather up long.
They had 2 missed smokes or 1 missed smoked in CT spawn for Evil Geniuses. I feel like they've had 2, actually. An unfortunate start for them. Maybe I've let Ethan get tagged because of it. 3 players on the side of Evil Genius is going to be holding towards short, so playing potentially for some damage on the cross. And they do have the double up set up, heavily investing into this yet again. Again, we've seen Cirque hit some fantastic shots on all of the scoped weapons so far. Is he going to be able to do it here? Jumps on top of the box. Able to take down Obo, who's able to get the entry onto the site, and that's a big entry it's going to be, and a lot of damage being done to the side of Evil Geniuses. However, they get the 3 kills they need to potentially hold on to this. Breezy trying to play up close, and Rush and Shazam chime in together to help equalize and turn it into a 2-on-2. And Shazam for another. That's his second of the round. And they know where Ethan's going to be. They get the bomb down, they can retreat, get Shazam set up in pit, and this should be a round for Complexity. This is going to be so hard for Ethan to clutch. He does have 2 flashbangs in the Molotov, but how is he going to somehow get into the site to get a defuse?
It doesn't even have a kit. The clock really is against him. I'm sure there must be one down somewhere, but it doesn't matter. Rush is going to end the round, and him and Shazam with a deadly duo. You just say they don't have an ult.
Wait, he doesn't or they don't?
I think it's they. Because Shazam definitely does.
Yeah, and they had a double up setup, so I would imagine there's no way. Though they have scouts, and that seemed to have worked out pretty much the same for Cirque. 8 to 5.
Better.
Yeah. So Complexity have taken 8 rounds out of the last 9. Oh my gosh. They're just tagging him up so low. Breezy's trying to hit a deagle shot from short, but not really able to quite connect too much onto Def.
I'm surprised no one's dead yet, to be honest. Like, the amount of damage that's been done across the board, the fact that no single player is taking enough to go down. It's come pretty damn close. Once again, long control. I think this is where they realize, okay, use our weaponry to our advantage. The only difference here is that there is a couple of scouts, which definitely could benefit the CT side. I'd like to see Cirque rotate over to try and fight a little bit towards long. These are rounds where you can just take these sort of risks, be a little bit silly, not do things that you'd normally do, and well, he is going to be just edging around that area. Good flashbang once again, but they're not able to capitalize off the back of it. Cirque still here with the scout. He's going to get the fadeaway shot, and Tarek just goes running, hoping to create some content for his team, but instead is only getting 1. But even still, the scout once again, just a ludicrous amount of damage. Rush is trying to sneak his way through. The problem is the bomb. It's down. There's no way of retrieving this. Shazam's going to fall. Ethan now doubles up. Well, it looks like we're getting 2 of these rounds, Jason. Evil Genius is stealing another away when it never should have been possible.
Just why even buy Cirque and Op anymore? I think if you actually compared scout kills to op kills, he has to have at least doubled with the scout compared to the op.
Yeah, it's crazy. I guess there is the just extra movement you get off the back of the scout, but or maybe just because it's in rounds where it doesn't really matter too much. Once again, though, we're going to have the blast of the B site. This has been their bread and butter so far. Ethan already this time getting the first pick, and look how much utility damage has been done already. Stan finally steps up to the plate with 3 kills and leaves Def with just his trusty MAC-10. 1 versus 3. Will at least be able to upgrade to an AK. The problem is, for about the 6th time in this game, Breezy's going to be coming in from behind. He won't even get the chance. Cirque will end things, and it is going to be another very close half in this match. The same as the previous, 8-7 in the end, as we do have what was a very strong start, actually, this time from EG. Like, that's the surprising factor. The man on your right there, Tarek, really the one to kick-start the gears. But the fact is, Complexity's T-sides once more proven to be good, and some great individual skill coming up from them. We'll see if they are going to be able to have the same CT side as they had yesterday, or whether EG are going to be able to scrape things home once again. We'll be back after the break.
And all alone, time's not kind and it won't let go. No thoughts left in my head. My mind's not mine and it won't forget. But you bring me back from my darkness black. Cause the soul in me and the heart I have for you, it bleeds for you, it beats again. Oh, you bring me to life. 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 Bring me to life. Oh, you bring me to life. Now you bring me back to life. Bring me to life. No. I stopped on my side, tried to run on a faulty line. I'm safe only, even though we burn from the light I bleed. But she bring me back, not a heart attack could take away all the love I had for you. It bleeds for you, it beats again. Oh, you bring me to life. 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 Oh, you bring me to
And speaking of being brought to life, finally Evil Geniuses have been able to come out in a much better fashion than it was looking off the get-go as Complexity took the first 7 rounds. And now we head into the second half.
Oh, you're talking about the last map?
Yeah, sorry, 6 rounds, and then we switch over to 1 for EG.
It was the other way around.
Okay, well, you know what? We're in day 5 here. It's been a long time.
I was just sat there like, what? It was the first 4 rounds went the way of EG. You just made something up. But anyway, let's go into the pistol round. Breezy is going to get the opening pick as he finds Death Rush Strike to survive, and he will get 1, but the trades are in thick and fast, and now they have control of the site. Also, Ethan still has a Molotov, which is definitely going to make things tougher. The spam through from Shazam isn't going to gain anything just yet.
It's because Complexity took 8 out of the 9 rounds. That's why I got the numbers in my head.
Trying to sneak his way through. They've got to make their way back in, but they're all coming from one direction. It's going to make things very difficult. Tarek does go down eventually, but Breezy still here in the corner, and Blame F, there's nothing he can do. A big pistol round from Breezy as he gets 4 kills. A man who didn't actually have that much to do in the previous half because he was avoided, it seemed, always rotating into the flank, but now being sent in to find the frags, he's able to get a quad.
Well, if you remember the interview that Chet had after the first map, their coach saying that the CT side of Complexity is going to be the weaker of the two, like a lack of communication on their side. And maybe that's how they're going to punish them here when it comes to Dust2. Maybe throw in some fakes, maybe switch up the pace quite a bit. And either way, 2 scouts for Complexity. Evil Geniuses, yeah, 1 SG. I'd still be very afraid of Cirque with a scout, considering what he did on the CT side. Look how careful Evil Geniuses are being about this, too. Long smoke coming in back towards middle out of them. Thrown from T-spawn as they head back. And it's going to be Tarek the one to bring up the flank for the team. Complexity have gambled a little bit with the 4-man stack towards the A site, leaving only Rush by himself towards B, and they're actually boosting them back in through elevator. Oh, he didn't see. Oh, wow. He didn't see the man actually jump into pit. That could have been Def's death.
Well, that's already this round pretty much over. The Deegs are going to have to do something very impressive. The smokes are there for the cross. There is a bit of a gap, but Obo unable to do anything, and Tarek just jumps up and looks to try and clear out the remainder of this site. Definitely slowed down from what was, well, an incredible first few rounds of this map. BlameF is going to be able to kill him off, but ultimately I think both players know that there's not much of a chance to win this round now that the bomb is planted, especially versus the weaponry on the other side. And they're just going to have to try and save their weaponry.
Well, all they'll carry overs to Deagles, but they're giving the advantage back to Evil Geniuses as they're going to hit up to 9. One thing that we did see with Complexity that allowed them to be successful against Cloud9 was, again, BlameF and Obo. Not only was BlameF kind of lurking on the T side, he was also being fluid in his positions on the CT side, kind of holding wherever he felt like was necessary. I think he had like 1 death and quite a few of the rounds total on their initial get-go. Can't remember the exact number, and I'm just stay away from numbers after coming back from that break. It was because they took 8 rounds out of 9, and that's where I got the numbers all mixed up in my head.
To be fair, on the first map, they did win the first 7.
Sure, I'll take that, because yeah.
On nuke, at least. On nuke, they on the first 7, but let's move on. Let's move swiftly on. So we are going to see, actually, a nade stack purchased. Nice shot from Rush. He used them as a bit of a distraction, as he's going to be able to dome out Tarek. Another round where he falls, and his teammates currently just waiting patiently. There's still an SMG and a scout, so there is potential for something to slip away here. Ethan being very patient, well, and it pays off. Blame goes down, and Def just hopes that he can retrieve the Deeg, maybe pull off some magic, and Ethan doesn't seem to shudder at the shots passing his face. In fact, the rest of the team are even going to come around and join him. Def going to have to probably pull off one of the greatest clutches of his whole career if he wants to hold on to this round, as 4 players come running into the site, and all he has is a Deeg and no armor, and Ethan's not going to give him a second's thought. Round over, a 10th taken for EG, but at least in the next we should see a purchase from Complexity.
I'm really wondering, as teams start to see how Complexity play with BlameF with this whole lurker role, I feel like once teams get used to the idea that he's going to be doing that and using his own play as just information gathering, they're going to be able to counter it more.
Well, basically, if you see BlameF somewhere, you can assume that the team are elsewhere.
well, yeah, and also the inverse of that, if you see his team somewhere, you know BlameF's probably somewhere off waiting for you to rotate.
I think EG did start to like look for him like when they were like exiting site, so I do think it's something you can think about, but that's the thing, like, it's like with Fur. The second you start to expect Fur is when you get killed by Fur, because he's in your mind at that point. And I don't think that a team like EG, like maybe he is something like when it comes to like rotations, they'll go, okay, there could be someone lurking here, but they should be doing that anyway. It shouldn't just be like, oh, BlameF is here, so we need to think about this more. No, it should be a common thing. I think that AWP actually comes off the back of Rush being able to save his Kevlar as well, so a pretty important pickup. Give some extra money over. Make sure that he also has utility, so something at least for the CT side. And they come into this round at least with a better purchase than their opposition, which can be, well, less likely in some of these earlier round buys. Even still, this is looking like more of a bonus round for EG. They've still got an SMG, a Galil as well. The Scout has at least been dropped off and left, but even still, if they get a bomb plant here, or even if they don't, they should still have enough money to buy into the next.
Well, Shazam might be the big star for them, as the smoke has come through towards CT to block off the cross. More smoke's coming in yet again. I don't think they're going to be able to really contest this off the bat. They're just going to have to give this up. You see Rush dropping down, trying to play towards the elevator. Might actually just spam through the smoke, maybe he flash through. Problem is Shazam doesn't have any flashes to help facilitate this. Should be a relatively clean plant coming through, though they still have some people up towards Catwalk. I'm actually surprised to see that it took so long to get into the site that one of the smokes has actually dissipated, allowing Rush to pick up a first kill, but just going to be one and done for him. I need you just holding for the after plant. Cirque going to be holding the bottom of long. And Ethan, oh, he can get so many kills with this. He picks at the right time, but Def's going to be able to eliminate him. And Tarek by car gets himself 2.
Kind of stuck on the side. The only problem is there isn't a kit. The CT side have probably run out of time here. Blame F needs this kill very quickly, and it isn't going to be happening. Sam will hold, and it's an 11th now onto the board for EG. They start to grind out these first few rounds, and I think this is where they get more and more scary. They're on that T side. They're setting the pace. They win that initial buy round, which at least when it came to the first map of Mirage was enough. Once they got rolling, even Rush admitted it in the interview that he had. It was like, once they got the momentum, there was very little we could do to stop it, and it was important that we got the first buy round. Well, unfortunately, they failed to do that here, and I think, personally, this is a more momentum-based map than Mirage. So I think that Complexity could be in a lot of trouble. They're going to need a momentum breaker, a hero, and maybe their Hercules of Blame F can be the man to do it. He's going to be leading the way as he pushes up the top of mid. The problem is, they're already on B. Like, there's no one on B, and the T-side have just walked in. They've gone for a little gander and found absolutely nothing. Oh dear. Shazam. Unlucky for that. Well, Rush actually does manage to turn around and get his old teammate. Def has caught another one. They're still making this round costly, considering it should have been over. It should have been over a while ago. Obo now catches out. Ethan Rush goes through the smoke. How has this round turned on its head? I was expecting maybe one hero. There's been a few in this round. But maybe Stan can be the villain. 1 versus 3, both players without armor. He still has time to play with as he looks to double back around. Could even go towards the A site. Now, this would be a bit of a surprise. It's the CT side. They're waiting for him to go for that plant. And then push him. And I think Def has just made the realization that he's no longer here. The question is it too little too late? He's already passed his opponents. Flashbang going to be going over and will actually slow Obo down just enough that Stan should be able to get the plant. And he's even going to play it safe and make sure there's no opportunity for any sort of jump shot. Shot hit by Def, though, will dink him up. And now they're just going to try and play this together. It's not going to be done by Stan, and a round is going to be stolen away from Complexity, Jason.
What is with these pistols coming through? I think Rush, him pushing through that smoke. Actually, first of all, him killing Tarek as Tarek killed Shazam. And then pushing through the smoke, catching out the next player. I think that was Cirque, as he had his, pretty sure that was a knife in hand. And then Obo hitting the shot towards short. So again, so many great individual plays coming through that they're able to take the round back. And at a very crucial time, as you mentioned, Rush in the interview said momentum. They needed to win that first gun round. Momentum slipped away from them. Well, they didn't win the first gun round, but they won the follow-up.
And that should have been done. Like, you have to look at the position that EG were in there and maybe slightly overplayed their hand. They had the B site completely under their control. Sure, the bomb wasn't there yet, but they got caught out in so many different positions. I think Obo gets one pushing up Cat. Def gets one, I'm not even sure, was that on A? Like, it was a really weird round for them to lose. And sure, like, Rush made an incredible play going through the smoke, but you have to wonder if they just played things a little bit safer, if they grouped up like we sort of give them credit for doing all of the time. Would they have just won that round on the B site without any problems? And I think they probably would have done.
Just so weird to see rounds like that kind of bounce back and forth between these two teams.
Yeah.
Oh, we're back into the buy-up. Off in the hands of Shazam. They'll have Cirque to contend with. Just trying to gather some information towards the middle, but they've actually picked up the pace. Look how quickly they've been able to take short. Even Rush trying to lock down this long position. feel like Cirque hasn't been really too unleashed on this map besides the scout shots we did see on the CT side. Had a rough game yesterday, finishing with 0.91 rating. I think the only one to actually finish sub 1 for his team. But the amount of utility being expended out of complexity here, the flashbangs being thrown in. And we still have a minute left to go.
Well, it seems like T-side are gathering up for a bit of a B play. This is so risky. They're looking to try and play through the smoke. Obo waiting above. He shoots though. He's given away his position, but it may not matter. He still manages a kill, but Tarek, again, high impact when needed. He's going to get himself 2 kills back. Stan doing exactly what we expect to see from Blame as well on the other side, just holding off rotations, and this should be a save. This should be a save from the CT side. There's no way they go back into this round. A 3 versus 2, bomb planted this time. No utility other than a single HE. Not worth it. And their money's in a position where Def can buy next round, Shazam can drop one. Nobo can probably get a rifle for himself as well, so it's not worth the risk. I think their loss bonus is actually still fairly decent considering the streak of rounds that EG managed to get. And it was the weapons they saved off the back of a force buy as well, so no reason to throw everything in here. Map's not over just yet. But EG, I think they show real composure. This is something they're very good at. Like when they lose a silly round or when something gets away from them, they're very quick to rectify it. Although it's happening a little more often than usual. They're one of those teams that I think they're very calm in these sort of scenarios. And I think this man is a very big part of the reason. Like Tarek has been super clutch within the last couple of days. Even if he hasn't necessarily had all of his stars stepping up with him, he's been able to basically go, okay, we should be winning this game. I'm just going to get us a round that we need.
Well, he's got 20 kills at least, so he is top fragging for him. Again, thinking back to Nuke with the CZ, thinking back to Inferno yesterday, the 1v3.
Yep.
He's able to have those pivotal points for the team, as you're mentioning, and well, now Cirque's able to at least win the battle up against his counterpart of Shazam. So with man advantage for Evil Genius, you have to hope that complexity side that Obo is able to step up again as well as Rush. And they're actually reinforcing the A side, pulling Rush back from long to help defend. And Blamev just playing the edge of the smoke. Actually might be flashed through. Blamev might go through this one straight into the enemy team, but he goes straight to 4 players. Somehow he gets the first. I didn't expect him to get a single kill there. And the fallout from Rush just net them both their lives lost. That's all on Def and Obo here to somehow pull this round back, and I would imagine it's not going to be able to since Def is nowhere near, and Obo is just hoping to get a kill. I don't think he's even going to be able to save his weapon necessarily.
Yeah, and unless there's some sort of miracle where they just don't push in this direction at all, the chance of him getting out of there with his gun is slim. But yeah, this is one of the first matches where we've really seen Blame F be very quiet. Like, I don't think he's really had any big plays, and of course that you can talk about the curse of in-game leading, but he's been someone who's been able to weather that a lot of the time, where he has had big moments. Dear Lord. What do you even do against that? Def desperately trying to hold on to at least a gun here, but his opponents are chasing. I don't think they're going to be able to catch him. Too far gone. That will at least be something.
Let's go!
Tarek's getting riled up. And we have to remember that this is still an important match. If you win this one, since both teams are 1-0 currently, taking victories yesterday, putting yourself at 2-0, you just get that one step closer to getting straight through to Denmark. First of the group, go straight to the finals. Second and third place going to go to the second group stage in November. And last place, well, say hello to relegation.
Well, the other thing as well is just if you look at head-to-head, because considering complexity already managed to beat Cloud9, I'm pretty sure that's that is the only team left that could beat EG. Chances are this would now set them up for being top of the group. I'm not going to be the one to try and do the maths, because I think if there's a 2-0 somewhere in there, of course.
I gave up after last time.
Yeah, Cloud9 can take it, but this puts them in a very good position, basically, just based off head-to-head. Either way, Def, he's now the one with the secondary AWP in play. Does manage to connect the initial shot onto Ethan, who is going to be slowed down. Breezy playing on the edge of the smoke around long. There is still Rush waiting in the corner next to Blue, but just going to be throwing out extra utility. And once again, it looks like they're going to attempt a burst through the catwalk. There's actually 2 players on the site this time. This is aggressive from BlameF. This didn't work out for him last time. This time he does get a kill, but it's still only a trade. Shazam is back there with the AWP, and aggression on the other side of the map has meant that there's at least a lot of information coming in from the CT side. However, they can't really risk any sort of rotations just yet because they're still unsure whether there could be a split through middle. Shazam is going to be able to take down Ethan. Gets a second shot on Turk as well. And a long push finally coming in. This is a lot going to come down to what Breezy can do, and what he can do is a lot. 2 kills traded back. Obo is there on the flank, but he doesn't connect initially. He needs this kill and won't get it. Breezy once more steps up, and now it's left all onto Def. The AWP in his hands, but in all honesty, I can't say I have any faith in him winning this clutch. And while the feeling's clearly mutual, as he's going to fall back, keep that up for the next round, and at least give them something to fight with.
After Shazam set them up with those 2 big kills, like that should have been the round done and dusted. That should have been over. But Breezy, I don't know, the timing of that flank, I don't say he's necessarily baiting out his 2 teammates, but just the way he's able to work around those deaths to pick himself up a triple. And that kill into Obo, as you pointed out, like that was it. It was either you kill him and you win the round, or you die to him and you lose the round. Trying to rescue the op. And just barely missed it, unfortunately.
Well, yeah, that was actually Stan dying to the bomb.
Yeah.
So, but I think as well that's what you have to do when it comes to long. That's him. That's him doing his job perfectly, because if he just pushes through long, then it's a 1v1 fight, and that's a 50-50 fight almost every single time. Maybe give him 60-40 if he had an SG. So slight advantage. But when it comes down to lurking in late, most of the time the other person has already switched to face on short, and he has the chance to make plays like that. And then the 3rd kill he gets is just the icing on the cake. That cements the round in my eyes. So those are the plays you want to see from Breezy. He's had a pretty damn good series, and you know, Shazam going to be boosted onto short. I wonder if Ethan actually managed to spot anything there. It's very difficult to tell from this point of view how much he's actually able to see, but at least this is a decent play, and a bit of a standoff here. It's going to be who's quickest on the trigger, and that's if Ethan ever actually picks. And in the meantime, they've got to be careful here, because there is a lot of presence coming in through long. There is going to be a switch up. There will be 4 players here for the CT side, so if they're ever going to be able to hold this down, this would be the moment. Obo looking to get ready to go through that smoke. They don't have much utility to actually support him, so he's just going to have to try and YOLO it, and he fails. Blame just lurking on the top of the smoke. The second that fades, he'll surely die, but he needs to try and do something before then, and while it's just not happening, I don't even know if they saw him. That smoke was fading, but even still, Tarek executes another, and Rush is now left alone, and Ethan's still waiting behind him. A flawless round from EG. They really have, once again, stepped up big when it comes to this T side, and it was sort of what I was worried about going into the second half, that we'd never really see the same level coming out from Complexity. Something that they definitely need to work on, but very early days thus far. And well, this is 2 days in a row now. We've seen different North American teams give EG a real run for their money, but at the same time, it looks like they're about to survive.
Interestingly enough, Ethan was sitting in that same spot lower until he peeked out to get that kill at the end. We're really trying to prevent BlameF from maybe flanking around, obviously waiting for his teammates to make the push actually be successful. Kind of interesting though, considering the amount of flashes and utility that was thrown in by Obo and his team for him to potentially peak with the SMG. They didn't have anything to really support him when he finally did have that moment to push out, and kind of unfortunate that maybe if he went a little bit earlier on, he did have 2 or 3 people on Evil Geniuses flashed up. Is Stanislaw actually going to challenge this? Is he going to potentially push out a door? He's got Def there up close with an ump. And Cirque trying to support. But the buy out of Complexity, I mean, it's a Hail Mary to say the least, trying to somehow keep themselves alive on Dust2. themselves alive on the series. Tarek pushing out, looks for the first, and Def's gonna get the kill. Very important kill out of them because it's gonna net them a major gun if they can get it. Nice timing on that nade too to try to punish them.
Oh, he finally
God.
gets it, and then that. Oh no.
The cursed weapon.
Oh, T-side get themselves back into this. It really is a weak purchase for what could be the final round. Ethan trying to be a little bit sneaky. I wonder if there's a gap in this smoke. He's got to be careful because Obo has been around both of these positions before. He's so wary of a player being above. He's actually just going to opt to fall back. Doesn't want to be left in the open. His teammates slowly making their way through. Rush trying to spot over the top, and the accuracy of this MP9 is just enough. But Obo, knowing they're coming in through mid, tries to challenge into the tunnels. Instead, the B site is now under their control. Zerk going to be caught off. That's an AWP into their hands. Not ideal for the retake, but at least gives them the man advantage. And now Stan and Ethan trying to hold on to secure the map. Blame F going to be throwing the Molotov through. Doesn't know there's a man right next to him, but it doesn't matter. He's found the kill, and Ethan will fall as well. Another onto the board, at least double digits made for Complexity, but still a long, long road to go.
I think the majority, if not every single person on their side, had an SMG.
Yeah, no, you're yeah. I think there were only SMGs.
I mean, Def getting that killer on against Tarek. Yeah, he did fall after it, but took away one of the AKs, and then Rush with a really long-range spray coming in. The burst, I'll call it. It wasn't a spray necessarily. But I think they got a little bit lucky there, and obviously now it's still 5 rounds for them to pull back, just to throw it into overtime. They cannot afford to make the mistake. Cirque back with the op as well as Shazam, and I feel like Cirque's had Shazam's number for the most part in the series. And again, heavy presence out of Complexity towards long, really wanting to lock this position down. A nade and 2 Molotovs thrown in just to secure it. A lot of early utility coming in. They only have 1 smoke left actually, and 3 nades. Blame instead of Def watching this time. Again, kind of playing a fluid role for the team. Def's going to be over towards A in the meantime. He's going to try to lock down middle. But the bomb, it's going to be sitting steady over towards the B site, right outside of tunnels. And I feel like Evil Geniuses are just hoping that Complexity just get aggressive. Maybe hoping Blame F checks an angle that they can win the fight on.
45 seconds left on the clock. The fact is the T-side don't have a mass amount of utility either. They're doing well in terms of Molotovs and only a singular smoke. May just be thrown in deep or used to try and hold the cross onto the door. The fact is we've seen Blame F in this position just yesterday on Dust2. Lurking around the edge of the smoke. Def pushes him, but he's actually caught off, and now they're going to push right into Blame F. They're standing next to each other, and they don't seem to realize he's right here. Blame F in from behind, holding down the site with an important double. He's even going to get out Stan as well, and now Ethan just has to run. He has to try and get this bomb down, which he will succeed. Leaves him in a 1v1 situation, him with already 3 kills to his name as he burst into the site. Rush coming in on the flank, but it seems like he's perfectly aware, but it comes down. Just 9 HP the difference, as Rush will keep them in it. So damn close. Blame F finally awakening into this server. An 11th round for Complexity. They're now grinding things back.
The worrying thing is, though, Tom, they lost 4 players on that victory. Their economy was already hurting before that. I wonder what kind of buy they're going to have in this round. Pretty solid, to be fair. For Evil Geniuses, though, this is basically their economy broken. They've only had, what, 2 losses in a row? So their loss bonus shouldn't be that big. But they're looking to actually push directly out towards long and to catch Rush off guard towards the right-hand side. And luckily the flashbang comes in to help him out, but he will eventually be traded on. And with the wall of smokes down, the rest of Complexity is going to be able to retreat back towards the A site. And as quickly as EG get in towards long, they actually abandon it. Going around the world towards B. This is an MM strat if I've ever seen it.
Yep, around the world in 80 seconds. They're going to make their way back into the hands of Obo. Def is there for a quick rotation, but the rest of the team seemingly gambling wrong. Obo doesn't have any utility, so it's just going to come down to whether or not he can survive based on positioning or if he can hit a shot or two. They have read this as badly as it could go. Obo left to defend everything. He does hit the dink initially, in fact, does a lot of damage. The nade comes through, but it isn't going to connect. Stan almost burns. Just 12 HP remaining. They do have a good opportunity here to take this back. Some smokes to be thrown in, a singular flashbang. They're going to throw that one into the door just to try and gather up a little bit of space. The Molotov will be thrown in from behind. Flashbang out, but Stan gets 2 important kills. This could be a done and dusted. In fact, Stanislaw will end it. A quad kill for the IGL as they do close out this final map. They were tested by this new complexity roster. Just 9 days of training. Their first best of 3 played and won yesterday versus Cloud.